morning, good evening. Welcome to this week's YouTube and live streaming Q&A. Big welcome to Livestream Consultants who is here early off the block. I was testing all of the stuff for Social Stream Ninja, and that worked, and now it appears to not be working. So I did have to reboot my computer at some stage. So let me just, double check the sources are there. So let's just run a list test. So just as I tested everything and then went, oh man, everything's running awful. I better reboot. And yeah, it is not working. It is not connecting. So that's cool. Let's just see what we can do about that. So let me just go to the sources and then sign in. I'm probably just not signed in. So what? No prints? Yeah. Just bear with. We might be able to. We might be able to get it all going in just in a second. Because I did reboot. So we had a power outage here last night, and I realised that there we go. That's all connected up now. So we might have Princess now. We had a power, just a local, we have a section of our house that blows the circuit breaker every now and again if there's too many things on, and my office, excuse me, happens to be part of that circuit, and so there was too many things on in the kitchen, and it blew it, and then I double checked nothing was on fire, but I didn't reboot, and I should have rebooted. There you go. You've got the princess happening again. So, it's just a case of old house, old wiring, not enough power for the amount of juice I need, like more power. So we've got some quotes to come out and have a look and see what we can do to fix that. So, we've got a list of tasks that have to get done before I can do that. But it's on the list. It's definitely on the list. Live streaming can learn live streaming. Hello, how you going? Dimmy Hart is here as well. It's great to see you. It's great to see you. So John Lacey. My brain was saying David, and I knew it wasn't right, and I don't know where it came from. But it's John Lacey with Learn Live Streaming. So yeah, sorry, John. And you're right. I do get you and Livestream Consultants mixed up because you've both got Livestream in your names. So yeah, that's on me. That's on me. I really shouldn't get you guys confused these days, but I definitely do. Hey, the Gypsy and the Vanilla Gorilla, it's good to see you. David, John Lacey, whoever you are, I'm sorry, John. I don't mean to make you feel unseen. I'm just really awful with names. I'm terrible, and I rely on the handles. Well, not the handles, but the display names, and now we're getting handles, and it was bad enough before, and now I'll get there. I will. I'm so sorry. So one of the things I wanted to chat about today was live streaming software. And as we know, we have a plethora of choices. There are so many options, and it can be a little overwhelming, especially if you're new and you don't know what you need. You don't know what you want. You don't know what you want to be able to do. But do you want to over-engineer it? What kind of system are you running? Do you have decent enough up? There's so many questions around which live streaming software is the best. And the answer is there is no best live streaming software, but there is a good one for you. Now, those of you that have been around here for a while, I run Ecamm. The reasons I run Ecamm is it's fantastic support, fantastic community around it. So a lot of people use it. The downsides are it's Mac only. So if you're not a Mac user, you can't use it. And it's also not free. So it's not hugely expensive, like in the scheme of things, like in the StreamYard pricing wars. It's not hugely expensive. Even when you convert it to Australian dollars, because they're in the toilet, let's be honest, it's still in the scheme of things a reasonable price. But if you're not a Mac user and you are you need other options, there are just so many. So where I started, the first live streaming software I ever used was OBS. And I'm not gonna lie, OBS has a pretty decent learning curve, but you can do some pretty basic stuff quite easily. And the big advantage with OBS is the sheer number of tutorials out there. There is just so many walkthroughs, so many step-by-steps. Like John Lacey, Learn Live Streaming, he's your OBS guy, right? If you want to learn stuff about OBS, that's your guy, okay? So he all his content is around OBS, and it is phenomenal. Just because it's free doesn't mean it's bad. I need to get that out there straight away. Just because it's free does not mean it's bad. OBS is a phenomenal piece of software. And I think that a lot of people overlook it because it's free. It is not. You absolutely need to look into it. You absolutely do need to look into it. So it has a lot of bells and whistles. It has like you can run a really basic stream off it, or you can run a really complex stream off it. It does the whole gambit. Okay, so there's some softwares that are really good for a basic stream, like StreamYard, pretty basic stream. But the second you start wanting some more of the bells and whistles, like our overlays here. So like, you know, when you know, live stream consultants put in the princess and we had the little GIF come up. For that, you need to be able to have browser overlays or alpha layers. It depends on what the software calls it, but you need to be able to use a browser input. And some of the web browsing softwares don't allow it, or they charge you extra, excuse me, or they charge you extra for it. So you need to be looking out. So what is it that the big questions you need to be asking yourself is, what system are you running? How heavy duty is it? How many cameras do you want? And then what do you want your stream to look like? And then once you've got those questions answered, you can start going in and looking at all the different streaming softwares and work out. The easiest thing to do is start ruling things out. Right? Like, well, that's not going to do an overlay, so no StreamYard. I have to pay extra to do browser overlays in EVMux, so I don't want to do that either. So, you know, you can start doing that. Now, John Lacey's mentioned here Meld Studio. Now, Meld Studio is a fairly newish player off the block. And from all accounts I'm hearing, they're pretty solid. So definitely worth looking into. They're more OBS-ish rather than StreamYard-ish, if that makes any sense. So they, but they're still solid. Okay, so definitely worth looking into. John's saying here, John says, OBS is amazing. If only you knew someone who did a live stream about it as recently as Saturday. Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. If you want OBS, you need to go and follow John's channel, for sure, for sure. Like most people probably need 5% of OBS's capabilities, but it's good to know you can go further in the future. I like tools that can grow with you. I agree with you on that. You get comfortable in the software that you're using, and it's frustrating when you hit the limits of that software and you're like, well, now I've got to go somewhere else to get the things that I want, but I'm going to have to learn everything all over again. OBS and Ecamm are both fantastic for that. So Ecamm's another one where you can come in and do a really basic stream, or you can do a really complex stream, and they both will handle it. It just depends on the software that you're running, if you're willing to pay, things like that. And as Livestream Consultant says here, between OBS and Ecamm, they are the two best supported out there. I would agree with that statement. Absolutely. Absolutely. John's saying here, the considerations are, do you want in-browser or standalone? So by standalone, it means you have to download it. The in-browser apps, they allow you to stream up, like basically send it to their servers and their servers send it out. So I'm multi-streaming right now to both YouTube and LinkedIn. Hopefully LinkedIn's working. I forgot to grab the chat out of LinkedIn to add into here once I've rebooted. That's bad on me. So if you're watching on LinkedIn and I'm not seeing your comments, I'm so sorry. Please come over to YouTube. Like, oh, let's just stream it in LinkedIn and then make it so nobody in there can talk. So basically, for the browsers, you send your signal to the browser, like to the company, to say, you know, StreamYard or EVMux, and then they send it out to the multi-stream. So you just need enough upload to get it from you to them. And if you're bringing guests in, that's all done on their servers. So you don't have to worry too much about that. If you are using a standalone app or on a device-based app, OBS, Ecamm, like lots of those. My brain just totally like fried. So there's the Logitech live streaming softwares as well. So like Talk Studio is the browser app, whereas they do have a desktop app as well. So which I haven't used that much. So Talk Studio for me is my, instead of StreamYard, I use this. So it's my in-browser app that I prefer to use. But so Streamlabs has their own desktop version as well that you can use. So as I said, there is just so many choices. It's so hard to choose. But the easiest way to start narrowing things down is, are you willing to pay? Are you not willing to pay? They're your first choice. That's a big choice to make right there. Now, I would say OBS, again, free, fantastic, meld free right now. So meld's free, that's great. Talk Studio is really inexpensive for what you get out of it, so that's fantastic. So if you want the browser one, that's a really solid choice. I don't know if I have it in the description or not, a link to Streamlabs or Streamlabs Ultra or something like that. I bought the whole pack, so the Ultra pack. And I think my Ultra pack, which is Talk Studio, as well as a whole pile of other things, is basically like that, you know, it's everything. And I think I got that for the equivalent of like 2 months of StreamYard, but for 12 months. I think that's how I worked it out. And I got their browser version and their desktop version and, you know, like everything. So I get all the things. Now, I haven't played too much in there because I'm comfortable in Ecamm, honestly. I really am. But yeah, sorry, back to what John was saying, because he had very excellent points here. So there we go. In browser or standalone, free or paid, and then your computer operating system, etc. So it's not just the operating system. So it's also about what, because so, you know, Windows versus Mac. So that's a big thing. But also, what can your system handle? Like, what kind of computer have you got? If you've got an older Mac, so if you've got a Mac that's not a Silicon Mac, you're not going to be able to use some of the newer features in Ecamm. They are designed for the Silicon. But you can use like some of the basic stuff, like what I'm doing right now. None of this is using any of the Silicon things. So if you want guesting or anything like that, then you're going to need the Silicon Macs for those. So if you've got an older Mac, you're going to struggle with Ecamm a little bit. And by older, like I was running it on an M1 Mac Mini, which is a 2020 machine, no problems. So like for a basic stream. Now I was starting to have a couple of issues here and there. And I don't know if it was the M1 or what was causing it, but there was a couple of little glitches every now and again. I'm not actually sure it was the Mac Mini versus the Ecamm software. I'm not sure which one was causing the glitches, but every now and again YouTube goes, hey, we're not getting enough data, and it's because Ecamm does variable bitrate. Is the issue my Mac Mini, or was it Ecamm? I think it might have been, you know, a bit of one, a bit of the other. I don't know for certain. But I recently did just have to upgrade. I needed something better for editing on. So now I'm now working off an M4 Pro Mac Mini, which I'm loving. So far, I've not found its limits, which is fantastic. I did find the limits on my M1, which was fast editing. It was just like, look, we can edit, no problems. But like, do you want to go and do your grocery shopping while I'm rendering? Because you're not going to be able to use me for a bit. So for 45 minutes. Whereas the same size file rendering out on the M4 Pro is taking 10 to 12 minutes. So that was the same time to edit, because as I said, it had no problems. Like, and just to be clear, I was doing pretty basic edits, but just long and large files. So I wasn't doing any like crazy, any crazy kind of like After Effects or anything like that. It's just a really, you know, basic, this goes here, this goes there, add in some extra clips kind of thing. It was long. They were over an hour long, and they were, I want to say 1080p. I think everything in there was 1080p, and I was rendering out at 1080p. But yeah, so, you know, it's how it is. And I'm one of these people that I tend to, when I'm buying computers, I tend to go, what do I need right now? That's the bare minimum. What can I afford to spec up to? And then I spec up as high as I can so that it takes me longer before I have to think about what can I afford to buy. And I was pretty impressed. The Mac Mini, I got 5 years out of. And I had just the Mac Mini M1 16 gigabit. So the only upgrade off the base model was that I went from 8 8 to 16 gigabit. And that was it. And then that lasted 5 years. So and look, it's still going. But it's being moved out into our living room. It's going to become a Plex server. It's fine. It's still good. It just doesn't do what I want it to do here. And so I wouldn't have thought I was a heavy user, but it turns out I apparently am. So yeah, so heavy, not pro editing level, but a heavy user. So yeah, amazing yacht destinations. Great to see you. Thank you for jumping in. So then we've got live stream. John Lacey saying, I was curious about the Streamlabs Ultra Pack, but barely have time to scratch myself, let alone test new software. I've been in a bit of the same boat, I'll be honest. I have it there. I grabbed a great deal. So I was just like, I'm just going to get it now. I've used the Talk Studio a couple of times, like for guesting and things like that. Because we did have the download and upload issue here, which recently was remedied. So now I'm able to bring guests into Ecamm, no problems. I haven't tried bringing guests in and multi-streaming out. I'm like, is that a step too far? I don't know. I'd probably be fine. I don't know. I don't know the answer. So I need to have a look at that. But yeah, sometimes finding the time to test out all these things, you just want to install it, connect choose your mics, choose your cameras, and go live. Oh, connect your accounts, of course, and then go live. But sometimes you do need to do a little bit of like looking around and seeing what the options are and how can you spec this up and what can you do? Do you want to have some cute overlays? Do you want to have some be right back screens, things like that? I highly recommend sitting down and writing out what you want your live stream to look like, what your dream live stream looks like. And I'm not talking about like top level guests, and I'm talking about the bells, like the bones of the stream. Do you want to have multicam ability? Do you want to be able to have 5 camera inputs? Do you want to have the ability to stream to multiple destinations? Do you want to be able to bring in stingers and half screens and then bring in drop down dot lists, all of that stuff? The technical side of your stream, what do you want that to look like? And that's how you can start really thinking about the software that you need. Some softwares will just hit all that out of the park. Some will struggle. Some will charge you extra for extra camera inputs. Some will charge you extra for browser overlays. You really just need to look at what it is that you want and go from there. Inner Logic, great to see you in the chat. John says, I have an insanely spec'd up computer, which is great for me, but when people ask if their old computers will run thing, all I can say is, try it and let me know. Because that's the thing. You don't know. You don't know, especially on PCs, right? You don't know what they've got set up in there. You don't know how much, is their motherboard getting flaky? Is that, you just don't know these things. You have to test things and try them out. Now, the huge advantage of that is you can live stream to YouTube on private. So you can have the full experience, including your upload and download. And you can go back and watch it and see if it was dropping frames, if it was getting janky, if your internet was not working. You can run these tests, but all of this takes time. And this is where I think a lot of, well, I wouldn't say a lot, but this is where some people, fail or hit their barriers, is they're not willing to test. Now, if you're like me, and probably John as well, content with the software that we're using, we don't need to go out and test 11 billion softwares for our own personal streams. I personally want to go out and test 11 billion softwares so that I can tell you about them. That's a different thing. But when it comes to what can your computer do, all that we can suggest is test it and see. Because what's going to happen if myself or John or whoever says, yeah, sure, that'll run on your computer, and then you go out and spend $11 billion on software only for it not to run because your computer is it's got some glitch, or it's a bit janky, or it doesn't have enough RAM, like whatever. Then you're going to come back and be like, you said it would work and it doesn't work, and now I'm upset. You have to take this onto yourself. If you want a live stream, you need to test it. And I know it's a bit of a hard truth, and everyone just wants it to plug and play and to work. But even like with Ecamm, right? Ecamm works. Excuse me. It's solid. It's great. I still had to go in and learn how to set up scenes. I had to learn how to set up the overlays. I had to learn how to set up, like at the start where I have my Be Right Back screen and then it merge into this screen, you know, I have the timer and then it go to the next scene automatically. I had to watch a video on how to do that. It just didn't appear in my brain via osmosis. I had to learn and test and see how it's going to go. As some of you know, I'm using, oh my gosh, my Social Stream Ninja, and that doesn't always work. Like at the start of the stream, I rebooted and forgot to click the button in Social Stream Ninja so that the chat was coming over, so I could bring over the comments, and so that the GIFs and stuff would appear. Logic says, buy as much computer as you can. You're buying against obsolescence, and you're right. Absolutely. When you are buying a computer, the computer you're looking at in the shop is already technically obsolete, right? For the most part, it's already technically that they've already got the next model either about ready to drop or it's already dropped, right? So you need to buy whatever it is, the next level, whatever it is that you can do, whether it's you can upgrade the RAM, whether it's you can, you know, just what it is that you can do. And sometimes you can't. Sometimes like that's all the price I can afford. And then you have to decide, same with cameras, like should I just keep saving or do I need to get it now? You know, for whatever reason. So these are the decisions you have to make for yourself, and no one can make them for you. And you can't come back in and blame people when, you know, their advice was a bit generic. Because I see that a lot in different common areas where like, oh, but you didn't answer my question specifically. You just made it general. And it's just like, well, sometimes it does need to be generic to protect ourselves. And also to help as many people as possible at once. So is $11 billion the Bending Spoons price? Yes, it is. Yeah. Logic says, weird, just noticed my username is showing not my name. Yeah, so YouTube is testing handles versus display names. I'm really hoping that this means we'll be able to tag on mobile soon. I'm seeing a lot more streams running with the handles, which is what we're seeing right now. The advantage of handles over display names is handles are 100% unique. So you won't see the fake Mr. Beast. It'll be like fake Mr. Beast 77647. You know, people have to, there's only one of each account here. There's only one inner logic with it spelt your exact same way on YouTube. And that is you. And we can see that that is you here now. So, yeah. So, and like, you know, I'm a bit torn about the display name versus handle name. There's a reason why people have a display name that's different. And you can go in and change your display names quite easily. You can change your handle, but not like the display names where you could just go in and change it for a day and make it Halloweeny and spooky and make it for Halloween kind of thing. But like, there's a lot of people who didn't, like when the handles first came out, they just took whatever YouTube gave them, which just about everybody had some numbers after it. But if you went in, you could remove the numbers and see if you were able to have it without the numbers. Luckily for me, I was able to have both my name and Fiberific, my other channel. I was able to remove the numbers off those and just have them straight as is, which is great. And actually, Fiberific is about to hit 7,000 subscribers. Where's my phone? I'm just having a little squiz, a little looky look. We're close, but we're not there yet. We were 15 away on Saturday, and now we're 17 away. So you know how it goes, the fluctuation. So, oops, hang on. I've got tea here today, and it was so hot that I had to leave the lid off, but also I'd overfilled it. So, actually, if I have one more sip, I can put the lid back on. Now we are safe from spills. Woot woot. I also have water as well, for those of you that are worried. I have water and tea today. I did need to hydrate a little bit then. It's getting a bit raspy. I highly recommend, if you are a clumsy person and you're at your desk with all of your gear, like I got a Rodecaster, my Stream Deck and speakers and the Mac Minis on the desk, like all like lids on your drinks. It's not 100%, but it's better than the alternatives. Let's have a look here. Let's have a look. So Livestream Consultant says, as a price comparison, a very highly spec'd out with lots of storage with 1700 US, which makes it about 3500 Australian or 3200 Australian, which is the cost of a small car here. Secondhand small car. That's pretty decent. That's pretty decent. This is excellent advice. If you are subscribing to paid software, try it out for a few months to see if you like it before buying a year's worth outright. Absolutely. Now, a couple of things that I'll say about that is definitely get in on the free trials. Most of them have a free trial for a week or up to a month. Yeah, normally a week or two, or have a free level of their platform. Now, usually those free versions include watermarks, which for me, that's an instant nope. I want my own things. Like I want to be able to just, you know, there we go. That's mine there. I get to have my buy me a coffee up in the corner. It's not some random software's logo. And I'm on Ecamm, so I'll happily tell you that. There is a link in the description if you want that. But I'm a big fan of not somebody else's watermark on my stream. But while I was testing out StreamYard, I used the watermarked version. Fine. I'm testing it out. I wanted to see if it worked for what I wanted, and it did, and I used it for many years quite happily. So test it out first, but then also keep an eye on what time of the year it is that you're deciding on, because a lot of these softwares do have either a deal or a sign-up bonus or something then, you know, that you can use for like around these Black Friday sales, things like that. So keep an eye on what time of the year that you're purchasing your softwares and things like that, because you can quite often get yourself a bit of a deal, at least on your first year. In a logic, free is my second favorite 4-letter F word. Very good. Oh, absolutely. John's saying here, but even with watermark, you can do some proof of concept streams, maybe even unlisted private. Look, and as I said, while I was testing out StreamYard, I didn't mind having the duck up. I knew it was a test. I knew it wasn't going to be going forward. But for me, long term, like when I'm testing softwares, I'm happy to use their free version with their logos up, things like that. But when it comes to me wanting to use it long term, I don't want those logos there. So, that's a personal preference. Like you don't have to agree with me, but I don't mind if they're there when I'm testing them out, because we don't want to have to pay for 11 billion softwares to work out which one we want and then have to go in and cancel all the others. If you can test out a few on free or trials or cheap, do that for sure. Do that. Because you're only going to have have the trials and tests for as long as you need them. You need to make sure you remember to go in and cancel them. Make sure you cancel. Yeah, it does a little bit rather. Sorry, the StreamYard Puddles the duck. I miss Puddles the duck. Louis ate Puddles the StreamYard duck here. He is now in the dog toy section. But yeah, it's a shame because Puddles the duck was very cute. It was very clever branding. People got attached to the brand. Isn't that exactly what you want? Livestream Consult says, and that's true, not just for streaming software, but for editing, thumbnail creation, such as Canva. Oh, like seriously, it's true for any software that you are thinking about using. Seriously, test it out first. Make sure your computer can handle it. Make sure you can handle it before you go and spend the spendoolies on going and getting the software. Test it for yourself first. Just about everything has a free trial. And just about everything has some sort of sale at some stage of the year. Different countries might do different things. John says, I have 2 Puddles the Duck plushies and they just make me sad now. Well, right here I can see my StreamYard cushion and I'm the same. It makes me sad because we did become so attached to the company. Affinity by Canva is now free and it's amazing. I have my own feelings on that. I only recently paid for the full Affinity suite. Only a few months later, it was like, I think maybe 6 months later, it's become free. And I'm just like, really? Now, I mean, there's a catch. To get Affinity for free on Canva, you do have to create a Canva login. So Canva will get your details if you're anti-Canva for whatever reason. I've recently had to go back to Adobe for work purposes, which is so weird because I think I'd fairly successfully de-Adobe'd my life, and now I'm back in. I'm back. So at least for the next 12, 11 more months or something, or 10 more months, I'm back in. But now I know I can de-Adobe my life. I may well do that again down the track. It just depends. It just depends. But yeah, so John says, I had my V2 suite for about a year, but I love the new app. So yeah, so I had the V2 as well. I had it for around 5 months or 6 months before the Canva takeover made it free. Look, I did work out that my cost for the year of well, not cost of the year, but my cost of purchase came out to be a little over 2 months of Adobe, and I was off Adobe for 6 months. So I'm still ahead. Well, no, technically not, because I also paid for Final Cut Pro. So did I get ahead? I don't know. So yeah. Oh, yours cost you $120 for lifetime. I think I paid $250 for the full suite. I think I worked out to be about $250 Australian once it all done and dusted. I'd have to double check because I wanted it cross device as well, so I paid the extra for that as well. Let's look here. Inner Logic says, I'm still Pixel guy, so I'm married to Photoshop and Lightroom Classic. Thank the gods I don't do video. Yeah. Yeah. Louis just got brought in here and then the door closed behind him and now he's at the door. What are you doing? Are you just going to come and sit down? You look sad now, like, fine, I'm trapped here anyway. I'll sit on my dog bed. Louis has a dog bed in like every room of the house, including the patio. And he has 2 in the living room. Just in case he wants to be up on a chair or on the floor. You know, you got to give him options. John says even my colleague who is the biggest Adobe fan has gone off them. Yeah, look, I think there's some pretty cool stuff that they announced at like both VidSummit and Adobe Max, and I'm pretty keen to see what they are. I do like now that they've made the pricing a little more transparent. That's something I did notice, was that they've made it very clear that when you pay for the 12 months, like when you pay, you opt in for 12 monthly payments, you are opting in for an annual plan and you will be charged this many dollars if you cancel early. But now they actually have a month-to-month plan, which I think you're insane if you're buying it. But I think because in Australia, so I can only go off Australian pricing. For the full suite, it's about 113, I think 110, 113 Australian dollars per month. If you want to do the month-to-month cancel at any time, it's $160 a month. So they're really, really like, yeah, we want you to sign up for that 12 months. And there's no real decent saving for paying 12 months in advance, because that's something I'll do as well. I'll pay for the full 12 months in one hit if I get a decent price off. Sometimes I look at like the Adobe 12-month in advance and it works out dearer than doing it month to month. And you're just like, that's dumb. Like, why? So yeah. And look, there are lots of free things out there. There's lots of inexpensive things out there, and there's lots of expensive things out there. And there's things that are more expensive than Adobe, right? You have to make the decision on what it is that you want. I honestly do not believe that the majority of people need Adobe. I don't. I don't think they do. Not anymore. A couple of years ago, I would have said, you know what? If you want serious, proper thumbnails, you need Photoshop. I don't think that anymore at all. I think Canva has come up. I think I do think that Adobe Express is better. Still Adobe, and both Canva and Adobe Express have their limitations on their free accounts. There's just so many choices for you. There's so many choices, and so across the whole spectrum for being a creator. Now, some of the advantages of Adobe are, like, for me, I'm doing teamwork, and you know, I've got to be able to do that stuff. So, you know, there's different things. There's different things, different reasons why people still have it. Some people still have it just because they're comfortable with it. And this is where I was last year. I was comfortable with the software, not so comfortable with the pricing, and I had to really reduce my expenses for a while there. And it was a hard decision to make, but I had to cancel Adobe. And in that process of canceling Adobe, I actually learnt a lot of things about what was free, what was not free, what was like lifetime costs rather than month to month to month. And coming from someone who's now on Mac, but I also understand PC because, you know, I was there for a long time. I'm only recently a Mac user. But working out which softwares work better for you on your system, things like that, because the expensive stuff doesn't always work better. It doesn't always play as nice with your computer. John says, I think that the idea that you need to pay to cancel is gross. Yeah, and and they really, you know, it's not even just a bit of a token amount like, oh, that's annoying, we're going to charge you some fees to, you know, cancel. No, they dig the heel in. Affinity, DaVinci Resolve, Hindenburg Pro for audio, all paid outright. Yep. And you have free versions of Resolve and Affinity. You know, like there's a lot of options out there. Now, those of you that mobile edit, I don't mobile edit. I got like fat thumbs and like old lady eyes. I like how big a screen can I have? Like, oh look, I have a 32-inch, you know, curved monitor here. Like, what's the next size up? No, that's actually about as big as I actually think I'd like. When it dies, I'm going to go for another flat monitor. Because when I got that, it was the only monitor I had. I didn't need to match it with another monitor. Like, I had that and a laptop, and now there's 2 monitors, and now it's annoying. Just waiting for Bending Spoons to buy Adobe. Oh, Bending Spoons just bought someone else. Oh, Vimeo. Bending Spoons bought Vimeo, so buy Vimeo. Like all those people that like, oh, Vimeo's great. Okay. For how much longer? Man, I really dislike what Bending Spoons' business dealings are, don't I? It'd be really awkward if I have to deal with them for something for work. Hopefully that won't come up ever. Oh dear. I don't like predatory business practices. I don't. Adobe do it, Bending Spoons do it. Like, predatory is the word to describe them. So they do bug me. They do. And it does. And like, if I didn't have to have Adobe, I wouldn't have it. But you know, sometimes we need the softwares for work. We don't always have to like what it is that we're using. But if we want that work, then that's what we have to do. So it's a tough one. It's absolutely a tough one. DaVinci has a lifetime payment of under $300 for the pro version. Oh, absolutely. DaVinci Resolve is a top tier editing software. Top tier. Film studios use it. Like, top tier, okay? If you can't do it on DaVinci Resolve, there's a good chance that either A, there's like, why are you trying to do it? Or B, no one else is going to be able to do it either. Like, you know, or at least maybe, I was going to say you can't, but there is some things that like I noticed like between Premiere Pro and Final Cut Pro, there were some things that I used to be able to do quite easily in Premiere Pro that I can't do quite so easily in Final Cut Pro. They can still be done. It's just a little bit more of a bit more manual, and vice versa, right? They can't all be identical. They all have to have their strengths, you know. But yeah, John says, I bought the Speed Editor keyboard and the DaVinci Resolve Studio came with it for free. So freaking good. Yeah. And they do that with like a lot of their hardware. You buy a piece of their hardware, you get a license of the software for free. And I think that's really cool. I really do. So I personally have been a bit torn about, like, because I'm a keyboard editor, I'm like shortcut keys, like click all the shortcut keys. Because like there's two schools of thought, right? If you are editing in the same place, in the same time, in the same zone, always, and never, ever, 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 ever do it anywhere else or with any other kind of software ever, then buying the equipment to speed it up, like the speed editor or the keyboard or whatever it is useful. But if you're like me and jump around from various softwares to softwares for different projects, for different things, I found that it would be very easy for me to get so comfortable with like the cool gadgets and not just gadgets, but like the ability to be able to do things so differently with, I've been looking at like, there's this little box that you can use on different softwares. And I had a good conversation with a friend about it. And I agreed wholeheartedly when he said, you know, just stick with the keyboard because no matter what software you're using, you can always edit with the keyboard and the mouse. If the box is broken, you are not stuck. So yeah, it's just one of these things where you have to make the decisions of what you're doing and you get to decide how far down that rabbit hole you go. It's always up to you. It's always up to you. John says, I'm going to be doing a live stream on DaVinci Resolve this week if anyone is curious. Absolutely. Absolutely. So you can find John at Learn Live Streaming here on YouTube, and you multi-stream to LinkedIn as well, I believe. John says, I didn't need the Speed Editor or even DaVinci Resolve Studio, but I just love what Blackmagic Design are doing and wanted to give them money. And that's the other thing, right? You've written it right here. Got to support the good companies. Absolutely. Absolutely. You really do. If you want these companies to stick around, if you want them to be able to keep offering a free trial to people, keep updating and upgrading their systems, someone needs to pay somewhere along the lines. And if you're in a position where you can do a paid service, why not? Why not? DaVinci's business model is way better than the Bent and Broken Spoons business model, especially when it comes to their community support. I didn't realize the Spoonies had any community support anymore. From what I saw, unless that's changed recently, I've kind of backed right out of their groups. I don't keep up to date with the software anymore. I don't use it. I don't recommend it. That could change down the track. You all know how upset I got at Canva for what they did to all their smaller scale affiliates. All these creators helped them get their business popular, helped build awareness of their business, and then they went out and basically cancelled every small creator's affiliate account. And I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, that's just rude. TubeBuddy, same deal. Just poo-pooed all over their community. I don't like it when people do that. And I get really, really antsy about it. But I do give them the opportunity in my brain, obviously, because they don't care about me at all. I do give them the opportunity to redeem themselves. Things happen, things change. But right now I'm still grumpy at Bending Spoons. I'm like, still grumpy at you. So I'll get over it, maybe can't get over it if they keep doing it, right? Like, let's acquire another creator community and just turn it into a steaming pile of, dumpster trash. it's not where I was going to go, but I realized, can't say that. But yeah, no, we have so many choices. Like, let me know in the chat. Like, I know we've talked a lot about like a few different ones, but if you're live streaming right now, what is the software that you're currently using? Like, let me know, or that you're comfortable with when you do actually live stream. And like, you know, or if you're watching the replay as well, just let us know in the chat, in the comments area. Like, what is the live streaming software that you're comfortable with and that you're currently using? There's not going to be any judgment based on any of the softwares. I'm just really curious to see, because I think it's going to be one of these situations where, like, I know what John uses, and I know what live streaming consultants uses, but it's going to be one of these things. It's going to be very dependent on the individual, on their machine, on, you know, their local internet connection. One of the things I will say is, if you do have a dodgy internet connection, like where it's just a bit janky, where it's where you need, you know, a little bit of extra support on it, EVMux, StreamYard, Ecamm to a degree, they all keep your stream live in the cloud so you can reconnect to it. And I'm sure some of the others might do that as well, but just keep that in mind as well. Sometimes you might need that ability. And it's pretty important, especially if you've got really dodgy internet, and keeping in mind that when you're using one of the browser internets, I find that they use less upload. That's a, what do you call that when it's just like, just from my personal experience? But yeah, so that's where I've seen the advantages of using some of those as well. Live streaming consultant says, although I mostly use OBS Studio, I do use Restream to spread the stream out to multiple destinations, and it's nice knowing I have the browser-based studio as a backup. Absolutely. Live stream consultant says he uses OBS, EVMux, and StreamTalk. Awesome. I sometimes see people on Facebook groups going, I have my 5 megabits per second upload speed and my stream is bad. And it's like, maybe streaming is not for you. Sorry. Really? Because I don't think that's totally true. I mean, like anecdotal. Thank you. That was the word I was looking for, John. But like, I was told when I very first started streaming, like 10 years ago, that if I didn't have 5 megabits per second upload speed, I could not stream. Right? And I'm like, that's crap. That's not the answer I want. I want a different answer to that. Now, admittedly, my upload speed was 1 to 2 megabits per second. So it was awful. Okay. And even when it got up to 3 or 4, still not great. The advantage of using something like OBS is you can control the bit rate. So you can really dial it in. You can drop that stream down to a 720p stream. Now, if you've only got a 5 megabit per second upload speed, you're not going to be able to do a 4K stream. And you may struggle with a 1080p stream, and you might have to go down to a 720p stream. And I know in this day and age, like, oh, not 720p, oh, but it is still viable, right? If your option is no stream or a 720p stream, I'm taking a 720p. I'm not taking no stream as an option unless there's no options. So I think sometimes people want these 4K crispy streams, but their upload speed doesn't allow for it. Then yeah, that's not going to work. But if you're willing to do these streams with a 720 or a 1080, like this is a 1080p stream. Like, I've watched the replays on these. These are perfectly fine. There's no issues here. My watch is telling me it's time to stand. It's like, you've been sitting for too long, lady. And so, you know, you've got options. You've got choices. And especially with OBS, and I'm sure it's probably the same for some of the others, not Ecamm. Ecamm, you cannot control the bit rate. It is a peeve. It's a peeve. Ecamm is not perfect. All right. I just want to get that out there straight away. But you can absolutely go in and change your uploads, your bit rates to match to your upload so that it can work. All right. Inner Logic says that his 11-year-old uses OBS. That's awesome. OBS is the best if you have low upload speeds, as you can turn your bitrate down to a level to allow you to run a 720p stream. Absolutely. Absolutely. Logic says this looks great on a 50-inch 4K TV. There you go. And this is a 1080p stream. This is not a 4K stream. I think this is about five megabits. I didn't check. It's about 5 to 8 megabits per second for each destination. So because I've got 2 destinations, I have to double it. And Livestream Consultant says a 720p stream looks absolutely fine on anything screen size of less than 32 inches. Yeah, and look, if you are watching it on a 50-inch 4K stream, you are going to notice maybe some artifacting or some fuzziness or something. Sure, but the stream is still happening and it's clear enough. All right. He says, and I'm on the other side of the planet. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. I think you're all on the other. No, John's not on the other side of the planet. He's just a couple of states away or a state away. I don't even know. He's not local. No one's local. But yeah, so it's, look, I do find this whole, if you don't have 5 megabits per second upload, you can't stream thing. I find that whole thinking so gatekeepery, and I hate that. I hate gatekeepery stuff. It ticks me off. Oh yeah, we're in different time zones now. Yes, we are. Yes, we are in different time zones. Like, rather than just go, you can't do it, give them the options of, look, it's going to be more difficult. Sure. You might need to just do some jiggery pokery. Sure. But I was able to run multicam streams to single location, just to YouTube, but as multicam stream on my dodgy internet using OBS. And if I wasn't, nothing else would do it at the time. Only OBS would do it. Livestream Consult says, sun just went down. Maybe that wasn't a great example, but I think sometimes you need to be really real about the constraints you're up against. Yeah. Look, I agree. And sometimes we are up against constraints. Sometimes our computers can't handle it. Sometimes our upload speed's not great. But I also think that sometimes people want these like nutty level streams on like, you know, a zero budget with no equipment and no uploads. Do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes there's things that you can't have. Sometimes there's things that you need a variation of. But yeah, I find the whole thing just, I don't like the gatekeeperiness of it all. I really don't. Like, oh, if we can keep one more streamer out, then we'll get a bigger piece of the pie. That attitude stinks on so many levels. It really does. I'm gonna hydrate. There are quite literally millions and millions of people watching YouTube at any one time. Quite literally. And as long as you are content with the content you're putting out, if you think the content serves your audience, that should be enough, right? Like, let me know if I'm, you know, off the mark here. If your content that you're creating is doing what it needs to do, whether it's helping one person, helping you to be able to talk about something you want to talk about, whether or not someone listens or not, it's a whole nother story. Getting it out there, that's one piece of the pie, right? But if you want to become famous off it, if you want like that whole, oh, my stream's got 15,000 people in it, and there's no point having moderators because the stream just blurs so fast you can't see anything. We're talking two different things. I lost the sun here 3.5 hours ago. It's been overcast all week, so I've missed all of the auroras. Oh my gosh, that's actually disappointing, because they sound like they were amazing. They really do. Yeah. But yeah, so it's, I don't know, I think the expectation versus reality of YouTube is always one of those sorts of issues. Look now we're going to go squirrel mode. We have not gone all squirrel mode for almost an hour. And here comes the squirrel. No. Look, I think the whole technical side of YouTube versus the viewers or growth side of YouTube, they're two different things. And I think that people need to understand that just because you put a video out there doesn't mean it deserves views, right? Like, I put all this work into it. It took me a week to make, blah, 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 and it got 4 views. Okay. How many other videos have you made? Well, no, it was my first video. Okay. So no one knows who you are on YouTube. No one knows you exist. Why do you think it needed to get more views? And it's just these expectations that, like John said it just here. Here we go. There are so many marketers out there going, do one video, become famous and beloved. Like, it's just not how it is. Like, for the vast majority of creators, that's just not how it is. It's just untrue. It's just untrue. YouTube and social media more generally is character building. I can confirm. I think so too. I think that it really, like, it does two things. Okay, so it amplifies your own self. So if you are, kind and caring and sensitive, it amplifies that. If you're a tool, it amplifies that, right? It doesn't, people are like, oh, it changes people. I don't know if it actually changes people or if it just amplifies part of their personality you didn't know existed. And this is a huge conversation. So, and a psychologist would probably be a better person to have this conversation, I think, because, as people's channels get bigger, things need to change, right? Processes need to change. Sometimes they need to bring on teams and, all that sort of stuff. That side of it is different. And sometimes that can change the feeling of the content. But yeah, it's just one of these sort of areas that are just difficult. It's difficult because there's the whole, they got so big and now they don't respond to comments and they used to respond. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, like, before, when they responded comments, there was 10 people leaving comments, and now there's 20,000 comments. Like, do you really expect them to respond to every single comment? Like, I remember having a conversation with somebody, and they were shocked when they found out that a large creator, who they thought that they were chatting with, and it turned out to, like, in a comments area, and it turned out to be a team member who was in charge of their social media and not the actual person. They never said they were the person, but it just had that, the person's, it's even a company name, like a business name, their handle on the socials. And they were just, I don't know. And for me, I remember having a conversation with somebody, like, before I got to know them really well. And I honestly thought it was a staffer responding to me. And it turned out it wasn't. And I was just like, wait, what? Okay, I thought you would have had someone for this. So, I don't know. And I think people, like viewers, need to understand that things do have to change as creators' channels get bigger and there's more on their plate. From a production side and team members, and like, oh, you want merch? Well, we need to get someone in to look after that. I'm not going to be able to do it. Oh, you want like a whole separate app where everyone can interact and there's memberships and stuff like that. Well, we're going to need someone else to handle that because I can't do all that as well. But they honestly, it's like they expect the face on the camera to be the person responding to everything and still be the face on the camera and run a business behind it. And I think that needs to stop. No one expects that top tier brass at Samsung are the ones responding to messages, but they expect it from a YouTube channel. So I don't know. John says parasocial relationships are tricky. Sometimes I want to joke with podcasters I listen to, but I have to remind myself that they don't know who I am. and the whole thing would be super awkward. Yeah, yeah. And this is the thing. You and I, and probably everyone else in this chat, understand what a parasocial relationship is. Most viewers probably have never heard the term. They don't understand the whole, a parasocial relationship is that the relationship is one-sided. That the viewer feels like they know you. They know everything about you. They are your best friend. They are your biggest cheerleader. And you absolutely must know who they are, because they watch every piece of your content and respond to every single thing. And when they come face to face and realize that that's not the case, the viewer is usually devastated, is really, or just at least upset, because they've poured so much in from their side, and it's not a two-way street. It is a really sad thing to see. And I'm like you, John. I have to remind myself all the time. Like, no one knows who I am. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if I comment or not. A while back, and a while back, I want to say a couple of years ago, Hank Green was putting this thing, Hank and John Green, and I can't remember which one said it. It was in the Dear Hank and John podcast. And they were talking about how they don't have to comment on everything. They don't have to have an opinion on everything. Like, they may have an opinion, but they don't have to share it. And that really, like, changed how I interacted on social media. Yeah, this is true. Nearly 7,000 people know you own multiple spinning wheels, so yes, they do. And I have a dog. Yep. John says that when I worked for Radio Shack, I had a technical question for Monster Cable, and I called support, and I got transferred to the founder and CEO. Wow, that's crazy. That's amazing and crazy. I love when you get to talk to the face behind the camera, but do I have an expectation of that, especially with the big content creator? Absolutely not. But it is nice when it happens. And it is nice when it happens. Absolutely. It really is. And especially with those bigger content creators where, you know, we know how many balls we've got juggling in the air as small creators. And then you add on to the pressure of that, of teams and managing people and all the rest of the stuff that comes with being a big creator. Like, yeah, we get it. And a cat. That's right. I do have a cat as well. And he just sometimes just straight across, does not care about YouTube at all. Not even a little bit. No. John says, every time I hear people complain about nothing, having enough subscribers, they're talking about numbers that are exponentially larger than mine, and I feel bad. I've dubbed this Lacey's Law. Every time I hear people complain about not having enough subscribers. Yeah, look, you know what? I'm going to bring this one back up. I personally believe that we have the subscribers we deserve. And that's because I'm harsh on myself, okay? Oh yeah, the emote wall. Yeah, that's up here. I leave it here for here and Fiverific. I personally believe we do have the subscribers we deserve. We have not earned that subscribe click from somebody. Sure, we want those subscribers. There's like, I want to get monetized on this channel sometime in the next 25 years. But until I do the kind of content that people want, they're not going to subscribe. And that's a decision that I've made. Sorry. That's a decision that I've made. I've decided I only want to live stream. I like live streaming. I don't like editing my own face. I have no issues editing other people's faces. I don't like editing mine. And I can't afford an editor, right? Like, let's just throw that straight out there. So that's a decision that I've made. And we all know that live stream only channels take a heck of a lot longer to gain subscribers, especially if you're not live streaming entertainment. So if you're live streaming entertainment, different. And they just take a lot longer. It just takes a lot longer to grow. It's just how it is. And I think people need to accept that until they are doing what the audience needs them to do, not what they want to be doing, but what their desired audience needs them to do to earn the click, to earn the subscribe, then we have the exact number of subscribers we deserve. And that's like, that's a hard truth. That's a bitter pill to swallow right there. Like, I want more subscribers. Who doesn't? But there's a lot that comes with that as well. Especially like Doug and Chantelle. Yep. Earned, you're going all southern on us now, Australia. Is earned a southern thing? I don't know. We're very southern here in Australia. We're Southern Hemisphere, baby. But yeah, I honestly believe that we have the subscribers that we deserve. So, and it's like that is hard. That's hard for people. They don't want to hear that. They want to hear that, oh, you don't have this, like, you deserve so many more subscribers. You deserve so many more views. You know what? If you did, you'd have them. And obviously there's a disconnect. And it might be a single small tweak that makes the change, that makes the difference. It might be a pivot in your content. It might be a new connection to your audience that does it. I'm not saying it can't change. It absolutely can change. But you have to understand that. Understand that and learn it. Understand it. That's a new one. Dropping the knowledge bombs. Hey, Valentine Stations. Great to see you. Inner Logic says, I don't like most live streams. The first 10 minutes is okay waiting for people to come in. I think that's so disrespectful. I think it's so disrespectful. Like, I already struggle enough having like a 60-second countdown timer, right? But that's really obvious exactly when I'm going to start. And it helps me just to double check everything's working in the background, quickly send out social media links. It gives me like 60 seconds to do all that. Or run and grab my water bottle out of the kitchen if I forgot it, right? You know, like, and I really struggle having that because I don't agree with the timers, but I'm not going to cut them out because then I'll lose the chat. And for me, as far as I'm concerned, the chat is the most important. If you are live streaming and you are doing things that destroys the chat, that's the communication between you and who is in your chat with you. Now, if you've live streamed and you have no chat, sure, go in and edit it. Absolutely. If there was no comments there, go in and edit it. It doesn't matter. But if you had comments, like I've had, like, you guys have been real chatty and I love that. You know, it's just, you just have to make these decisions for yourself. Even creators whose edited videos I watch religiously. Yep. I agree with you. John says, I have my 30-second intro. They're mostly just so I can turn on Social Stream Ninja to get the chat working. Yep. I try to do that before I start the stream, but then today, I totally screwed it up. I had it all set up and then realized, oh man, I need to reboot this computer. It's running like a dog. And so I had to, because it had been, you know, powered off and then flicked back on when the power came back on and I hadn't rebooted it. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. But then you watch the replay later and go, why did you chat so much? You literally can't. You can't win. But you have to, like, for me, like, and I do get that every now and again. Like, oh, geez, you're so chatty, you don't even, you know, get to a point kind of thing ever. True. Like, let's be honest, true. But what's the point of the live stream? Like, seriously, what are we live streaming for? I'm live streaming to connect with you. If I'm not chatting with you, how are we connecting? Like, I don't understand what they want. And I do know that there's this, and we've touched on this before, but the whole, you know, stream for the replay kind of thing. Depending on what you're doing, yeah, you should be doing that. But that's not what I'm doing, which is also one of the reasons why my channel's not growing, right? Or at least it is growing, but at least at the speed that some people would deem acceptable. It's because of decisions I've made. Yeah, John, like I know you've said this before, that you don't watch other live streams. And I've always felt really honoured that you watch mine, and because you're a fiverific guy, and now you're over here as well, and like I'm blown away, and I really appreciate you taking that time out, because it's the other thing. This is the other side of the pie, right? You've got the whole, oh, I took forever to make this content. Why is no one watching it? You got to take those minutes from somebody's day. Literally, those are the minutes they cannot get back. Was it good enough for them to give up those minutes again and again and again? Like, I don't know. Like, let me know. I like the idea of picking a single song, and however long it is, that is the countdown time. That's actually, I like that. I like that, especially if you're doing a song that people know, right? If people know the song and they're like getting into the groove, it's frustrating if you're like in the middle of it. They're like, ha ha ha, we're live. And they're like, man, the chorus was coming. But yeah. I just go, and I have the timer up. I like to be able to see the time so people can go, oh, she's not going to be on for 60 seconds. Look, I got no issues with times up to 2 minutes, but you start getting up to those 10-minute timers, those 15-minute timers, I'm going away. I might come back, but I'm definitely going away. Some people want community, true. Some people want quick answers, also true. But I kind of wish viewers would self-select between live streams and shorts. That comment about too much chat ruined my whole week. I had to really, I had some comments over on Fiverific that really affected me a lot. And they stopped me from doing some stuff that I liked. Like these comments. They stopped me from doing content that showed my hands. Because I'm a nail biter and I don't have the prettiest hands, and also, and I think on that particular instance, I'd been dyeing and my gloves had blown out, so I had dye on my hands as well. So like there was lots of different colors, you know. Probably not the best week to be doing a demonstration of something, you know, close up with my hands. But there was a few really nasty comments, and originally I got someone else to look at them because I thought, am I taking these too personally? Because like, you know, I do that. I'll read something and I'll take it so personally, and I'll be offended and I'll be upset and I might even cry, right? And so I was like, okay, am I taking this too personally? Is this just like, did I read the tone wrong? Because that's another thing I do sometimes, is I read tones wrong. And so, you know, like, do I read tones wrong? And so I got some friends to look at it for me and help me work out if I was reading it wrong. And they were like, no, there's no other way to read this. They're a tool. They're an absolute tool. And it was more than one person. They're all tools. So, are you right there, Louis? Louis wants to come out. Abby, just leave it open. I think he just wants the door open. He's just walked back to his little bit. Oh, the door's open. Okay. So, you know, you've got these sort of, you've got these people who are commenting that are just mean. And you just have to, like, I just had to really set a hard line for myself. And one of the things that one of my friends said to me was, this is more about them than it does you. Because would you personally go into someone's comment area and write that? I was like, no, never. And they're like, yeah, this says more about the kind of person they are than you are. I had someone who came in and just was totally nasty about my accent. Like, why can't I just learn to speak properly? And, you know, it turned out that what they meant was I needed an American accent. Because I did backwards and forwards a little bit with them because I was confused. And then I tried to explain that YouTube is an international platform, and everyone from all over the world is here, not just English speakers. And they're like, well, then, you know, you're not exactly speaking, you know, English. I was just like, I'm backing away from this conversation. But yes, Inner Logic has nail on the head of it right there for sure. This is also true. The path to a play button is littered with creator tears. Look, I think that like if it's not like if you know if you're a stronger, more mentally stable person than me, I think you might still cry when the box arrived, like or at least been super happy. Yeah, the play button has never been a goal of mine. Over on Fiberific, I honestly, from the very start, my goal has been 10,000 subscribers. And then when I was telling someone about that, they were like, wow, that's such a low goal. And I'm like, that's 10,000 people who watch my content and who want to come back for more. How is that a small number? And I think it's perception. It's totally a perception thing. And I know that there's yarn craft channels out there that are just like powering through and they're getting their silver play buttons, like, and they're getting their gold play buttons. And you're just like, that is so awesome for them because they want to do something different than what I want to do. So, and again, because I want to live stream and they don't live stream. So, like it's different decisions. John says, some Americans generally don't seem to know other countries' time zone seasons exist. It's kind of fascinating. I have this thing that I do, and it's so petty, but every time somebody says, if it's like they're talking about like the seasons, all right, oh, this will be coming out in fall. And I'm like, oh man, I can't wait 9 months for that. And they're like, fall's in 2 months. And I'm like, maybe for you, like, and I always comment, and I can't help myself. It's like this little petty thing. Like there are other people on the other side of the planet who don't enjoy the same spectrum of seasons at the same time as you. And I can't help myself. I'm like, oh, sometimes we just don't respond. Well, that's something I can't help myself. I always respond. The second I see it, I'm just like, obviously I always do it on my phone. I'm like, right. I thought America had like a ton of different accents and I do struggle to understand a couple here and there. So I was just like, what? Livestream consultants, accent? What accent? You want to hear an accent? Go down to hillbilly country and I dare you to try to get directions to somewhere from them. Oh, yeah, Merry Christmas in summer, you weirdos. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, he did. Okay. So yeah, and look, something I've always wanted to try is a cold Christmas. It's usually like the middle of summer and stinking hot, like 35-degree day with like 80% humidity. And it's like, let's have a roast. What's 35 degrees in the Fahrenheiters? Let me just check. 35 F to C. No, I went the wrong way. So no, we want 35 on this side. It's about 95, right? So, it's 95 and 80% humidity and stinking hot and just awful. And it's like, let's do this. Yeah, the Christmas sweaters thing. Local Australian shops are selling Christmas sweaters and I ordered one and tried it on and thought, if I wear this in December, I will literally die. Yes. And the thing I love is that they print those Christmas knit sweater designs onto like rashies now. Is rashies a international thing, like the swimmer shirts that you wear in summer over your swimmers so you don't get sunburnt and skin cancer and stuff. So they're the long sleeve, like weird fabric that stops the sun from burning your skin. We get the winter shirt stuff printed, the winter sweater designs printed onto those. Yeah. Oh, there you go. If you go to Southern California where I grew up, I cannot count how many Christmases were 80 degrees. Yeah. Though I do now own a Christmas T-shirt that says "Yippee-ki-yay." Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, it'll probably be 35 here for Christmas in front. Yeah, wouldn't that be funny? We've got the same temperature, but like F and C, and then it's like frosty, frosty. Um, but yeah, it's interesting. There's a channel, and I can't think of the name. It's probably more than one that does it, but there's this one guy that I watch, and every now and again he'll go in and read. There's a particular name for it, where Americans forget that there is other countries. I can't think of it. If I think of it, I'll throw it in the comments later. But basically that they'll go in and they hit like Reddits and stuff like that, and there's whole stories where it's just like, you know, tell me I'm American without telling me I'm American kind of thing. And it's some American people, a particular type of American people, who go in and correct people from other countries. And you're just like, no, this is correct for this part of the world. Like, they're like, it'd be good if you could spell English and stuff like that. And you're like, it'd be good if you could spell in English. Doug Hewson, what time do you call this, mate? Where's your late note? Seriously. People on YouTube got mad at me because I posted a video of the National Zoo and an aquarium in Canberra, and they were like, this isn't Washington. Yeah, exactly like that. That's the perfect example. Oh, and like, I think I did a YouTube video on the biggest sheep and wool festival in the country. And then I had to change it to in Australia because I was getting the whole, this isn't Rhinebeck, this isn't such a, and you're just like, oh, okay, sorry. Here is the interesting part. In essence, we have like 50 separate countries in comparison to Europe. But like, they're your states, right? Like, it's not like England doesn't have counties. And I mean, they do have like Southern and Northern England dialects and stuff like that. And there's probably different spelling. A bad example. It's not a good example. And in Australia, we have different pronunciations. Like, we have the people like me from Queensland who say plant and castle and castle. Well, I say castle, but plant and dance. But then if you go to South Australia, it's dance and plants. You know, so there's you know, different pronunciations and dialects everywhere, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah. You're on the road. Oh, well, I hope you're all good now and off the road. And also, it's a bit hot to be on the road. I've got to go out shortly, actually. I'm going to have to bail soon, everybody, because I've actually got an appointment I have to go out to. Not rushing out just right now, but in a second. Oh, Leanne, it's good to see you. Just quietly waiting to pounce if needed. Oh, thanks so much for coming in and keeping an eye on us, Leanne. I appreciate that. Oh, exactly. That's exactly the class cultural considerations is the difference between Kath and Kim and Prue and Trude. Absolutely. The couch, get the throw off from the couch. If you're outside Australia, you have no idea what I just did then. But if you're in Australia and you've ever watched Kath and Kim and Prue and Trude, you know exactly what I'm talking about, okay? All right. Yeah, they are states, but they're very much different countries. New Mexico is similar to Arizona, but California is drastically different than Texas culturally and an attitude. Yeah, I can see that from like the attitudes to politics. Do you need to throw off your couch? In Logic said I was in Canada to photograph some models and did some street photography, and the model I was with was like, I don't think you can photograph people in public. By reflex, I said, what? It's a free country. Then I had to Google it. Yeah. It is interesting, the different, like, and trying to explain, like, in Australia we don't have the same free speech laws as you guys do. We do have protections, but they're just set up differently. And so we can't just throw it out. It's like, oh, you know, we've got free speech. We do, but we don't. We do, but it's not like a constitutional right. It's just accepted and legally protected. Oh, I did see that Americans tried to remake Kath and Kim. Yeah, yeah, it didn't go well. It didn't go well. Kathy Arts, it's good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for jumping in. You were just live as well. That's great. Love that you're going live. Love that you're doing it regularly. And it seems like you're enjoying it. It does. From the outside view in, it looks like you're enjoying it. So that's cool. But yeah, it's very interesting. The different attitudes from state to state, country to country, and just like, even though we're like all English speakers, we're all creators, you know, we've got lots of boxes that check, but we do have different views and ideologies on different things, and we're allowed to do that. Oh yes, it was like when Hollywood tried to make a version of Doctor Who and it tanked horribly. Yeah. Yeah. It was just yeah, that was awful. I usually go live with Beanie Arts on Fridays for me, Saturday for Beanie. Lots of fun. Yeah. Yeah, I think that in a logic, I'm looking at that thing and I'm not quite sure which post exactly you're talking about, but if it's the one I'm thinking of, I think there was more to that one than what was shown. But I don't 100% know. I'll be honest. I'm not entirely certain if we're talking about the same one. We do have, it's different. We have different rights. So yeah, and you know, different, and not even just Australia versus America, but like America versus Canada. Like, you guys are like literal neighbors, and it's different again. So, and like Australia and New Zealand, like some people are like, oh, you guys are so similar. We're really not. Like, yes, we're close, and yes, we both speak English, but yeah, it's different. It's different. Hey, our office is great, and our ghosts. I did like the American version of The Office as well as the UK version. They're different, but both good. I agree with that, but I haven't watched Ghosts. I don't know. What kind of mic are you using? Right now I'm using a Rode, what are you called? Rode video mic NTG. It's connected right here. It's just right there. You can probably hear, I've got a fan on, so it's probably not the best. I've got that plugged into a Rodecaster Pro 2. But yeah, it's the Rode Video Mic NTG. I've had this thing for years. I absolutely love it. I think it's super useful, especially on days like today. So both my husband and daughter are home. My daughter's about to go to work. My husband's working from home. He's maybe 5 meters on the other side of that door on calls for work. I find that when I use my pod mic, when they're home, it picks up everything they say. For some reason, I don't know why this picks up more. And so, yeah, it's just, you got to pick the right mic for your situation. So that one was a better, like, I used to use, oops, that's stuck on a light. So yeah, so I have both for different situations. And when I'm doing live streams with guests, I try to match my guest so that if they've got a big mic in front of them, I'll use my pod mic. It actually has better audio. Like, I'll be honest, it does. It has a crisper, better audio. But this is my preferred, because I talk with my hands. Yeah, please don't forget to smash the like button. Absolutely. Living with Parkinson's, great to see you. You and Andrew Can have inspired me to try going live, even though I have speech issues and tremors due to Parkinson's. I'm going to try to go live tomorrow evening. That is awesome. That is so good. And I'm so glad that you are pushing through and giving that a go and seeing how you go. Yeah, just, you're not going to know until you try, really. And I think it's great that you're giving it a try. Wait, is that not an actual brick wall? No, it's not. It's really, let me just, once this GIF goes away, it's not a brick wall. And, oh, hang on a second. Let me just see if I can adjust this. Which one? Camera A. There we go. Oh, look, there's the edge of the sheet right there. I literally have it gaff taped at the top and like rolled up bits of gaff at the back to hold it to the wall. It is just a $7 or $8 sheet from eBay, or did I get it from eBay or Amazon? One of them. It's just a photographic backdrop, super lightweight, and just attached to the wall. My free speech is like this. I have the right to my opinion about anything or anyone, but I'm not immune from slandering someone. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, talking with the hands, absolutely. And when I'm doing like my crafting stuff, it's just better not to have a microphone there. I bang it and hit it all the time. I had a live stream co-host who used to talk with his hands so much he'd smack the mic arm every time. I look, I understand that. Oh, I didn't put my camera back in the right spot. There we go. A bit more middle. Hydrate. I will. I'll have some more tea. Thank you. Alrighty. Oh, you thought it was an actual brick wall? No. And the advantage of that is when I move studios, I can just bring my wall with me. Just don't smash the like button. Literally, Chantelle will be picking up all manner of stuff from it. Yeah, little things like all little likes will just fall out of the sky. That would be great. Wait, what crafting do you do? I have another channel. It's called Fiberific. Fiberific, Fiberific. And over there we do yarn crafting. So knitting, crocheting, spinning. Haven't done much spinning lately. Used to do a lot of dyeing. Can't do any dyeing anymore. But yeah, we do live stream there my Thursday. So today is my Monday, but my Thursday from 10 a.m. till noon. And so that's your Wednesday evening. I'm not quite sure exactly what time your Wednesday evening, but yeah, a couple of hours where we just craft and make stuff all the time. It's what all this stuff is for. So yeah, I've been doing that one now for, we'd be coming up to 10 years, I think, 9 or 10 years. That's where I learnt everything. It's my teething ground. I smack my mic all of the time. Yeah, look, and that was the thing. I had to make the decision. Do I want more hand space or a better quality mic? And I couldn't have both. So this is the opt-in. But I will say I have it very close. Like I think it's totally out of camera shot. So yeah, so I'm touching it with the tip of my finger. So it is literally just out of camera shot. So yeah. So I do try to keep it quite close. So that probably helps. Thank you for sharing my BMAC link. I appreciate that. I used to do a lot of dyeing. Can't do a lot of dyeing anymore. Is a funny thing, like taken out of context. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I thought Fiberific was an app. No, it was because it's Fiberific. There you go. That's how you spell it. If you want to go and check that out more, you know, we talk all things YouTube over there as well. 10 a.m. in Chantelleville is currently 7 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, that's true. You're right, because that's why I've chosen, like, I'm streaming a bit later here. So I was streaming at 9 a.m. my time to get the 7 p.m. Eastern on a Sunday evening. And then one week we did it where it was still 9 a.m. my time, but 6 p.m. didn't work. So we pushed it back. So yeah, we started an hour and a half ago. So yep, so it's 8:34 now. Yeah, so I try to stream the same time on my Monday morning here for me. So 7 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. And then also 7 p.m. Eastern on a Wednesday. But that one changes. I always stream at 10 a.m. my time, so that one changes. So yeah, that one shuffles because I do have a majoritively large Australian audience, so I keep that one tracked there. Valentine Station says it's only 6:34 in Arizona. Okay, so it starts quite a bit earlier in Arizona than it does in eastern states. Rightio, good to go. You're going to get some lunch. That's awesome. Have fun with that. Thank you for sharing the link to the channel. Appreciate that. Oh, it's the same in New Mexico. It's a 6:34. So it was super early for you guys. Oh, it is still super early. Um, but like early's better than late, right? Isn't it? I don't know. I would think early's better than late. At least it's not like 1 a.m. or something. Like there are the options. It's either 5 or 1 a.m. But yeah, no, it's look, deciding when to go live is really hard because you can't keep everyone happy because of time zones. And the world is big and there's a big ball. And if I go live now, it pretty much precludes any European audiences because it's in the middle of the night for them. But it's like early evening or late afternoon for in like sort of those middle countries. So yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough call choosing when to go live. You really do just need to look at who is the majority of the audience that you have that you're trying to attract for those live streams, and when is the time that suits both them and you. Because that's the other thing. You can't just go live at a time that suits your audience, because for me, technically, that would be a time that suits probably both the US and the UK, which is later in the evening for me. And I'm pretty toast by then. I'm pretty tired. I don't want to have a conversation. I want to sit on the couch and knit something. Look, I balled up some new yarn for a new project that's waiting for me to start it. You know, like that's the things that I like to do. I go off and sit on the couch and put my feet up and put on a show. I have a creative friend that does 2 different live streams, as she has a huge European audience as well as a US UK audience. Yeah, like I can see like when I was working with Primal Video, like they would run their calls at either 9 a.m. or 7 p.m. and they'd alternate them because they have audiences in both time zones to try and make things for. In the US, we call that military time, and the rest of the world just calls it time. Oh, okay. I actually do go by a 24-hour clock. I like a 24-hour clock. It makes it really clear as to like that 6:34. No problems. There's always a replay. Hey, Leanne, there's always a replay, and hi to those jumping in later. Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? But there's a lot of people who don't like a replay. There's like this. So when you look at the YouTube as a whole, right? There's lots of people who don't like live streams. They only want to watch the pre-recorded content. Then those people, it divides into long form and short form. But then little subsections of both of those will watch a live stream, and then an even smaller subsection of that will watch a replay. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I do get the majority of my views while I'm live or within the first 24 hours. So on these live streams, unless I go in and like this one, we're definitely going to be able to rename it and give it a new thumbnail, because we did really go in a lot for like choosing the right live streaming software for like nearly an hour. We kept on topic. I know people who came in late are like, wait, what? I know, shocking. I'm just as shocked as everybody. And it was off the cuff. Like, look at this. Look at my notes for today. None notes. So prepared, but it was something that I'd been thinking about. So it was in my brain. It was in here. So on that note, my fine furry friends who have joined me from all around the world, I am going to leave. I've got to go and get ready to go out. I'm going to go and get my eyes tested to get some new glasses. I'm a bit overdue. I was supposed to go in May last year. So yeah. So I'm going to have to go and fix that. And I'm starting to get headaches from staring at the screens for too long. So try and solve that problem. So I hope you all have a fantastic day, a fantastic evening, and I will catch you all next time. Bye now.